Hello, hello. As you may notice, the Stormgate community update patch is on PTR right now, and there is a update that they released the data trigger and map editor. And today I want to talk a little bit about the data editor, the starting line. We are going to talk about the types and archetypes and basic unit data and command index for abilities and for unit. And in the future, we might talk about the game effect, string, buff, expression, and validator, and response for the data editor. If you have any interest in creating like maps and unit data and abilities in the Stormgate Snowplay editor. So to introduce a little bit of myself, my name is Hui Bao. I have been work at Stormgate as a technical designer for 3 years. Before that, I had worked in Perfect World and Tencent Games, and also a lot of personal game projects when I was at Carnegie Mellon and Miami University. So I'm a designer and programmer. I wish I can share more about you, but I'm currently working on my own projects. You may already notice my name was on the community patch notes somewhere. I was just helping the team to fix some gameplay and tools features. So let's get back to this editor that we want to talk about. So when you enter the games, you have this editor stuff you can just click on, and it will creating a new map for you. And if you don't already know this, to access this new editor, because we used to only have the map editor unlocked for players, to access this new uh, data trigger and map, you need to look at the top left Yeti and control click it 10 times. The Yeti is here. After I have done that, we can see these new abilities, triggers, and data editor, which is different than before. And this is also what I could say designers, like level designers or like 1v1 designers, whoever, most designers who want to create a unit, create abilities, they are gonna use this data editor, which and it's exactly the same editor the designers are used, so the players can use this as well right now. And I want to talk a little bit about the types and archetypes. I think it's pretty easy to understand. Types are things like unit data. It's types, and under this you can see all of the units in games, even the units you didn't notice. And there are also like abilities, different kinds of ability like attack ability, cargo, construct, and each of them has multiple different kind of archetypes to support to be the actual like what designers gonna create it is these archetypes. And you may notice that you are not allowed to modify these types in game, because these are what technical designer and programmers gonna do, because we just add a new property and we need to implement them on the back end on the gameplay snowplay scripting side that is currently not allowed for players. So what you can do is like creating these new archetypes like like a new unit, right, for your own maps. And yeah, let's talk about a little bit how to create a new one. I believe the first step of most players or designers to try this editor, what they want to do is just create a new unit, right? So we have this, after we click this unit data, and we have this little plus button in the archetype section, and you can click it. And we don't, for players, currently we don't need to worry about the directory path because it's just stored under your maps. And we have this ID, which is what your new unit is gonna call. And then we back to this base down and clone source, which is a little bit confusing. So that I'm gonna talk a little bit. So when you're trying to creating a new archetype, you need to choose the base down, or you can also type some clone source. So you are always required to do at least one of them. You're always required to choose one of these base down, but it doesn't always matter. I will explain it later. And of course, you need a new ID. So what is a base down? Base down is like a reference. So there is no initial extra info in JSON. JSON is which is what your how your archetype's gonna start in game. I'm gonna show you right now. So if I trying to create a unit data called test unit, and it's called base unit, and we click OK, and we will have this test unit, right? It's everything is grayed out. This is because we haven't made any changes to it right now. So why that's what I mean about there is no initial extra info. If you made a change to this new archetype, it will be stored. Like with tab 10, you can see it's blue right now, and it's if we click save, oh, great, laggy, of course. Yeah, after it's saved, we can click this folder, little folder stuff. We can see it. It's a JSON file. You can open it if you really want to, if you like playing with Visual Studio Code or whatever stuff you like. Uh, See the armor. This section is stored. The ID is stored. It's based on the base unit. This is basically what have happened before, right? So what if the base data is changed? So for the unchanged field, it will be affected. So it's like a reference or call by reference if you are familiar with C++ or it's just like inheritance. So for the change field, it will not be affected. Gonna talk a little bit more about this. So if you may already know this that we have this little start here, this little techniques. If you can just store the field that you really liked or you use the most so you can find them more quickly. And on this there is also a little icon that you can jump to your base down. So yeah, now we have this base on the base unit. It's got a lot of changes. It's the base unit is based on unit data, which is just the base types, nothing more. So even if you jump to them, it doesn't matter a lot. Uh, we have this vital energy, health, shield, and armor being changed, which means if you choose 5 or like 10, you remember we changed the test unit's armor to be what? 5, right? Oh, 10? Is that what we is that really what we did? Let's see. So we changed the base unit's armor to be 50, and you can see the test unit's armor is still 10 because we never because the test unit's armor field is already being changed and stored here, so it's gonna ignore the changes in the base unit. It's but let's see. Let's try to see a field that like cargo size, the changes to 8. So which means all of your future new units which are based on base unit will have the default cargo size to be 8, which is definitely what we don't want, but I'm just gonna show you. And you can see that in the test unit, we have this cargo size being 8 as a default and as unchanged. And that is basically what a base on do. So what about the clone source? Clone source is something that you clone the value and you will copy the extra info in JSON except the ID. So basically what's stored here. If you use a clone, except the ID will be the ID of your new archetypes that you just named. All the other files that store in JSON will be the same values. If the clone source data change, the new archetypes you created will not be affected at all, which is very good. Let's see. We have this XO, the gunner in game. So we can also like try to just click. We can also like click the created when you're selecting a archetype, and then you can see it's called new gunner. And we are going to use clone source this time, and we pu- just put the ID gunner to be the clone source. At this moment, what you choose here actually doesn't matter because no matter what you choose, the new gunners based on will be the same as gunner. You see, it's based on base unit Vanguard U. So explain a little bit about what this means. We have like base unit celestial, base unit S and U. The S is stand for structure, and U is stand for unit, and that's gonna pretty much that's it. And yeah, we have this new gunner. You can see it have a bunch of new blue stuffs. Means these are all fields that's being stored. Oh, we haven't clicked the save button. Okay, let's get back to it again. We have this new gunner. It have so many fields being installed right now, and it's basically just clone the gunner's data file, JSON file. So it has no relations to the gunner at all right now. So no matter what you did to the gunner, your new gunner will not be affected. But if you change anything in base unit Vanguard U, like we talked about earlier, for the fields that's not being changed here, it will inherit the base unit Vanguard U. For like if we are not modifying the vital energy of a gunner here. So which means if in the future we decided to make all the Vanguard unit have energy, we can just go to the base unit Vanguard U and we change the maximum energy to be 20. And over new gunner, we'll have the default vital energy maximum to be 20. Yeah, that's basically uh it. That's basically how you're gonna choose base and clone source. And the next step, we are gonna talk a little bit about unit data, like vitals. Vitals are too that's really simple. We just have health, energy, and shield. We have maximum, the starting values, and the region is what's how much value is gonna restore every second, right? So mm, we also have the weapon list. So I also get it favored here. So a unit can actually have multiple weapons, but every weapons have its own can use, which is the expression and validator. We will talk about it later. But just imagine that you want to create a unit with two different kinds of attacks. One is just for attack ground units, and another is for like shoot a projectile to the air units. That's why there are like a weapon list to store all different kinds of weapons for a single unit. So we will also be talking about the ability list and command list. This is a little bit confusing for players who haven't seen about it before. So here I have an example of barracks, which is a Vanguard like Tier 1's training structure, right? You can train these Lancers, Scouts, Exo, Metac, and this Empath. And let's take a look at the ability list. It has the under construction Vanguard, structure production queue ability data, rally, salvage, and barrack spawn. So ability list is just what the unit's gonna hold. It have 5 abilities, even that most of these abilities are not shown on your command card. The command list is what you are gonna play with to actually plan abilities on the command card. So let's see, we have this command list of barracks, and if you go to the barracks spawn ability, you will see it have a commands list, and the command zero, the command for the command index, this is what we call command index. So for the index 0, it's gonna spawn a lancer. For the index 1, it's gonna spawn a scout. So that's why that for the in the command list, uh, for the barrack spawn ability, we need to place command index 0 with combined with the lancer's button. The button is just something store this icon, this is a small little lancer icon, and we place it on second row and second slots, which is why the lancer is planted here. And we also have this goat button combined with barrack spawn 1, and I believe it's on row 2 and slot 3. So this is the difference of abilities in the command list. And for things like rally or for things like under construction, structure production queue, these are actually abilities not don't need to be under this command card because they are just like passive hidden abilities. And we also can have some more examples of what's command index being used. So for the attack data, we have this attack target and the attack ground. For the cargo, we have the load and unload all. And for the chain ability, or actually called spawn, it has different kind of units. So because a structure, the same structure can spawn like 5 or 6 or maybe 9 to 10 units, but we don't want to create 9 abilities just for create 9 different units, right? Which this is just for organizing the data we have been used. So let's see what's next. And anything else we want to talk about? No? Okay. I know I talked to a lot of ideas that's maybe too complex. What if I just want to make an exo attack like Atlas? You can actually just do it in 1 minute. So we have this unit data. We just go to the unit data. We go to the gunner. Let's copy its name, or we can do it here. And I don't know, just call it's Atlas gunner and choose whatever you want because it's the clone source will help you. So currently the Atlas gunner is gonna do all the things exactly same as gunner, right? Remember what's gonna affect unit's attack? It's a weapon list. So we can just search for Atlas in the unit data. But I know you don't know what Atlas is actually called. So Atlas is actually called artillery mag in data. We have artillery mag and artillery mag deployed. So the deployed version is the one that's gonna shoot AoE, right? We can just find its weapon list. It has a artillery mag deployed weapon. So what we're gonna do is we find the Atlas scanner and just change its weapon to be the artillery mag deployed weapon. And we click save and it's done. It's pretty much done, but since we are in our untitled map and we don't have a lot of ways to like cheat code to creating units. I'm just gonna show you a little bit about how to test this. We have this little person icon here. It's the entity browser, and we can find something like just type the name of what we just created. This EXO, the kind is Atlas Gunner. So this is what we just created. And we just place 3 of these units on the ground. And we just click test map to run this. Oh, of course, it's gonna take 10 minutes. Uh, let's see what else we can talk about. Yeah, we can talk a little bit about the command list example. So we have these 3 stuff that's still called EXO, but you already see that it has a different circle here. It's actually which is exactly like the artillery mag, because they have the artillery mag weapon now. It's called BFG, and we just move it in here and try to attack. Yeah, We did it. And you know that there are still something different. So we have this attack button. Where is the attack ground? Right? The artillery mag can attack ground, right? This is about the command list we just talked about. So we just open the old map again, and we now need to look for the artillery mag. We can see what's the ability it has. It has attack data, stop data, hold position, and morph to artillery mag. And it also has a command list of two attack data. Yeah. Why? Because this is just a basic attack button. And the second one is the attack location button with a command index 1. So this is what we need. You need to Gunner also have the attack data, but on the command list it doesn't have this. So we just need to copy this for the Atlas Gunner, right? Go back to its command list and we check for attack data. Attack data with command index 0, stop, hold position, move, and another move with the patrol button. And we just click this little plus button. And we can now find for the attack data and find the attack location button and put it on 1 and 3 with a command index of 1 to mean this is for attack location ability. And we just click save. I think this should works. Let's see. Yeah, now we have the attack round on the first row and third slot for over at the last exo, and we can just use this. I know I have talked more than 1 minute to make this happen, but all you need to do for this is just create a new UnitData archetype and change its weapon, right? And for the next class, we will be talk about the game effects to see how this weapon is actually how this weapon is being implemented to be working. So take a sneak peek. We have this artillery mag deployed weapon. It's weapon data, and there is a weapon fire. It gets a bunch of it's get a missile launcher. A missile launcher gonna do a bunch of different things like impact, effect, movement, projectile that we will all talk about in the next class. And let's get back to the gunner. Talk a little bit more about this base down stuff. So you may notice that we have this use as template, and you can click it to be true. What this does is it will allow Scanner to be a new based on based on archetypes. So when you create a new unit data and you go through this based on menu, you can actually see the gunner. right? You can see the gunner here. So you can make make an archetype that you created to be a new based on archetypes. It's convenient for most players if you just want to make 10 different kinds of gunners with different weapons, and the others are all behave like the same. So if you do this, like when they you want to change all of their health, you just change the base gunner's health to be 100, 200, and all of your special gunners will be benefits from it to save your time. So the downside of this is, as you may already notice, you will get more and more and more if you make every archetypes you created to be a based on as a template archetypes. It's not really a good experience. It's not a good way to organize your data and values and files. Yeah, I think pretty much this it. So next time we'll be talking about the game effect basic, the search, damage, and what's the target source and the pairs mean in a game effect chain, and the buff, duration, stat modes, and the game effects above can execute it. I think this cover like 80% of our weapons and stage abilities in our game. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. If you have any questions or have anything that you want to learn about Stormgate, Stormgate's Snowplay data editor, feel free to leave a comment here.